What is going on, everybody? Jim here. Got a video review for you guys today. The footage you are seeing is captured on my iPhone. I am running the cloud gaming beta, which finally made its way to iOS devices. I got into the beta this weekend, and I spent some time focusing on games that used the built-in touch control. I didn't play any games that required a controller. These are all games you can play only with your phone. And to me, that is the only way I think I would really use cloud gaming if I'm going anywhere. Most likely I'd be bringing my console anyway. However, with this new streaming service, it actually overlays controls right on your device, so you need nothing else but your phone. Now, does it work? Yes. Is it great? Not really. But I appreciate the effort that goes into it, and I have some games to show you today. I think I have 4 games that we're going to run through just very briefly, so you can kind of have an idea. You can see where I'm actually pressing on the screen, which helps a little bit. What they do with each of these games, it's actually very creative. And what they've done is they have overlaid every single possible button press over the top of the screen. So very rapidly, if you were playing Double Dragon Neon, for example, you would know that X is punch because it has a little fist icon, or that B is pick up because you see a little hand icon. And they've done this for all the games that I tested, which is really kind of nice. So you're going to be able to see exactly what, the buttons do. I'm assuming every iPhone can support multiple touches. I know that mine can. So I never had an issue of I was moving left with my left thumb on the D-pad while I was pressing punch with my right thumb. I never had any kind of input issues like that at all. Where I did suffer with issues, as you'll see Wario making his appearance a few times in today's video, where you will see some issues, however, is when you're trying to do 2 things at once. And the game actually yells at me for that. It says, hey, wait a minute, you need to press punch and kick at the same time, or you have to hit a trigger button and this at the same time. That is incredibly difficult to do. Think of how you hold a controller. Think of how many buttons and fingers and you're pressing simultaneously. Now remove all of that from the equation and you have your left thumb and you have your right thumb. This is where I feel that this doesn't work very well for very basic games that don't require simultaneous inputs or very fast inputs. I think this is a phenomenal service. In a fighting game like this, walking around and punching, grabbing, or kicking all works okay. Doing all 3 at once, not so great. Doing any of those is very difficult. That's where I feel that this service kind of hurts. Now, obviously, they do have support for you to use a controller, and they do sell a plastic clip that would snap around your Xbox controller. You would have your phone right there so you can play on the go. That does work. However, this was just a test of the kind of touch-only controls. Keep that in mind. In terms of latency, in terms of graphics, in terms of sound effects, this is where the touch, again, suffers slightly. On the iPhone, and your phone may be different, on the iPhone, the speakers are on the bottom where you charge your phone at. When your phone is turned sideways, for you to cup the phone kind of in between your palms so that you can use your left and right thumbs, you inherently are either going to cover the speaker with your left hand or your right hand, which makes for a very muffled audio experience. And it's frustrating, but that's just the design. I can't hold Xbox accountable for that. I think if you were going to use this, you probably should end up using a pair of wireless headphones or wired and just try to figure out a way to hold your hand around it in a convenient way, because the sound will be muffled and it doesn't sound very good. But I can't pick on Xbox. I just want to point that out in terms of some of the user experience. In terms of graphics, I am very well aware that the cloud-based computers right now are basically a series of Xbox Series S computers, or Xbox One S computers. And I'm aware of that because you can tell, and especially games like Sea of Thieves, very vibrant 3D environment, the game chugs quite a bit. I didn't notice any artifacting, and that was really good. But I definitely noticed some very poor performance in terms of frame rates. And you could just tell the game is struggling on some of the more advanced games. Now, when you're playing little 2D side scrollers like Double Dragon Neon or Celeste, which I have coming up, those obviously look pretty, but there's not much to them. But in terms of playing this game, let's say if you wanted to play Halo with a controller or some other, shooter with a controller, I don't think you're going to have a very good time because the performance definitely stutters and it just doesn't look as vibrant and crisp. And this is a very close representation to what it actually looked like on my iPhone. And my iPhone's got a beautiful screen and it's bright and vibrant, and you could just tell that it wasn't being driven with a really powerful signal. So whether you're using a controller or the touchscreen controls like I was, keep that in mind, that the games obviously aren't going to look as good as you think they should because they're encoded and decoded. That's how they're able to stream the quality to you. But I did not notice any pixelization or artifacting, which was good. Which brings me to the big elephant in the room, connectivity. When you are playing a game, whether it be a wired or wireless controller, the input from your button press to the game is virtually instant. Unfortunately, because of the cloud-based computing, your inputs are sent from your device to a server. The server then processes said device and sends it back to you in another signal. That does result in latency. Now, I am running on wireless. At these tests, I am sitting like a foot away from my wireless router. So this is as best of a signal I can get. I'm running an Eero 6. The only reason I mention that is I'm getting the maximum internet connectivity I can, well over 100 down, well over 15 up. So plenty of bandwidth to go around. What happens though is you'll just see, and you'll see it on this game quite a bit, but it happens elsewhere. I feel like inputs are getting lost. That little puzzle, and that's not even a puzzle, you're supposed to double jump up to clip onto that wall. The game wouldn't seem to recognize me pressing the jump button twice very rapidly. Additionally, the game seems to stutter, not just this game, just anything, any of the games. It seems to stutter from this where the graphics take kind of a second to catch up, but the game is still processing in the background. Keep that in mind. The Xbox in the server, wherever this server farm is, it's still running the game. Just because it doesn't get updates to me in a timely manner doesn't mean that the process still isn't occurring in the background. So you will get these very jarring jumps, not even like fast motion, just almost like a teleport where the game's like, nope, you're here now, and it will update your screen accordingly. And it makes platforming and it makes very precise combat incredibly difficult to do. I would mark this entire service solely as a gimmick. And I've been very clear since the beginning that something like this is not for me. Particularly in a COVID environment where no one's leaving their house anyway. However, if you do have to travel, or if you find yourself out on the road somewhere and you got a decent internet connection, you can absolutely game. You can carry your save files over. You can carry your progress over. You could still party up with your friends. It's exactly as if you were sitting at your home console or a Windows-based PC, but unfortunately, you're going to be playing it with less than optimal experience. And I think that's really kind of the hard thing about this. I like it. It doesn't cost you anything else. If you're a fan of Xbox, you most likely have Xbox Gold. You most likely maybe even have Ultimate. You have Game Pass, whatever. Like, you're bought into this. They're just going to throw this into that service. Would I recommend you go out and buy one of those services solely to get the streaming capability? Absolutely not. The technology is just not there. The performance is just not there. And you're going to not have a good time, especially in a very detailed and very meticulous platformer in a game like Celeste. You're not going to have fun. So there are a lot of games to try out, which is really cool. Again, I just focused on games that had touch input only. I'll scroll through those very briefly at the end of this video, but that wraps up my summary. It's interesting. It's not for me. I knew it wasn't for me, but I wanted to capture some footage and throw that out there for everybody to take a look at, to kind of get an idea of what to expect, to see what the performance is. Again, this was recorded right off my iPhone. This is exactly what I saw. This is exactly what it looked like. I hope you guys found this video informative, and thank you guys so much for watching. Please take care of yourselves. Subscribe if you haven't already. And until next time, I will see you guys on the other side.